Oh, let me turn on the lights here. Right. Um, yeah. Everyone, this is Daisy here, aka Professional High Priestess. Good morning. I hope all is well. I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys some insight into two things, okay? So some of you guys received a message from me, and on that message, it had some information about mass death of entertainers. So I just wanted to say I don't know what has happened. Sometimes videos disappear from my YouTube, right? I'm gonna find the proper video. So please, that video, don't disregard it all the way. It has some information about people still passing away because of the particle physics and getting caught up in playing in IC3, which I'm gonna talk about in a minute. But for the no, for the most part, um, this is what's uh, going on, right? Mass death of entertainers. I'm gonna do the video again. Okay, I've done this video 3 times. The feds intercepted one of the videos because it's very serious that entertainers that passed away. So I'm also going to do another rest in peace report. It's been a while since we did one of those. So rest in peace report is where I basically get online and I find different articles about people that have passed away who were directly involved with the virtual reality, people's kids going missing, financing warehouses, financing chat groups for Black and Brown people to be harassed in, financing nonsense. So what's happening here is I'm gonna go ahead and put that information out so you guys have it, okay? Because it's very important. Now let's go ahead and move forward. Incest Family Network. What you guys need to know. Yeah, let me shield myself before we get started. so all right. Because we're going to be discussing things that are highly toxic and highly delusional, I just want to like settle us in, right? I want to set the tone here, um, and just let you guys know that this is all about solutions. This video is going to be all about solutions, okay? All right, you guys. So, incest family networks, groups of white people who have an alliance amongst each other to create chaos, warfare, drama, etc. Throughout history, these families have stayed together because of their shared interest in sciences, their involvement in the slave trade, their involvement in the creation of the defunct pharmaceutical industry, and their involvement in colonialism and neocolonialism. All these communities, all these countries, all these white families, they know each other, right? So, one of the things that's coming out here is that all these families they get engaged in having sex with each other. So you have like the redneck white supremacist biker gang type, etc. Low level type hacker that's like in all different chat groups. That's different, right? You have like the general white woman that's she's off, but for the most part, she's not necessarily in their network, right? There's a division because you don't need to identify all whites as a part of this, but the majority of white folks in America are involved in this, right? So it's coming as a shock to white America. So that's what you guys have been doing. Okay, so we're poor too, and that's what you guys have been doing, and you're using us for DNA testing because we don't have sex in our family. Stuff like that is happening. So these groups get into a lot of illicit things. Like the biggest thing that they get into of course, is what they get into in their family, then how they're distributed as a network in different places, right? CDC. They work at all the UCSFs. They work in the social service space. They work in the courts. All of that. It's all rigged to make sure that people don't find out what those families are doing. Make sure they can try to get their rocks off, continuing what they're doing in their circle, and then harassing people of color, which is their primary function, to have sex in their family, and then to harass black and brown people because they're getting sick because they're having sex in their family. So in their manifesto, right, they say that the darker the person is, the more malevolent they are, the more sinister they are. Like, oh, look at Daisy. She's this dark. That means she did this bad thing and that bad thing. So, see, we have to get kids that look like her or get her, and we have to do this and we have to do that because that's why we're sick on the planet. They're anchoring a force of physics that's tempering with our physics. That's their manifesto that they put out, right? So, you're dealing with that level of delusion. And then remember, we have a specific chemical running through your body, shattering your biochemical pathways, destroying, right, the biochemical pathways that create your brain chemistry, attaching, right, now you guys see it, attaching peptides, sequences of peptides that are damaged. Because remember, I'm related, you're related. Our histones, right, are merging together, malfunction. Our chromosomes are merging together, malfunction, right? And it's releasing abnormal proteins and peptides, but they can't really identify them. And then when it comes to crystallography, they can't get there because there's something that they have to like have some type of information and access to in biochemistry. It's like a tool for high priestesses in space. So the way that that's even working with transcriptional identification, identifying proteins, peptides, all of that, the way that they do it in space is like, oh, I can identify this peptide in you and this peptide. That means that you're coming from this universe in that galaxy. What are you doing over here? Oh, your people started slavery, so you're coming over here because your universe got inverted, the physics, for what you guys were doing. You can't come here, right? So that's the way in which they use these type of tools, right? So now one of the things that's going on here is like, oh, okay, there's ways in which to monitor these families and to identify them, which has been happening. It's been like an ongoing project because of what they've done in the last few years, destabilizing public health. The biggest one recently is what happened with Raquel from the Department of from CDC. Some of you guys know that the CDC got a new director while COVID was going on, and she was all in virtual reality. Raquel, yeah, she left the CDC because of this virtual reality situation and what they were trying to have her do with budgets and money because of this rare disease research and the fact that they're getting sick because they're doing that in their family and playing with the black and brown community and all of our farms, looking for a magical herb or a magical potion or a magical chemical to stop the illnesses that they're getting, right? So you're fucked off one time, then you're playing with people of color, so you really know that you're going to just keep on getting set up, right? So then another thing, karma and the physique, aka force of physics bodies. It's like something like that I've like been teaching you guys about. For my patrons, don't worry, like we're going to be going deeper this month with two classes, but this is something that I taught, physiques, force of physics bodies and how they get created from the actions that you facilitate. So when you're harassing and attacking somebody and they're going through all those biochemical pathways and all those neurotransmitters, that's creating a force of physics body, right? That's anchoring to you, bringing you karma, bringing you, right, destruction. And this is where we get a lot of like these families that want to go get involved with them. They're sick. Their kids are passing away. Look at how their kids exposed them. This came up really tough in the Spanish community. Look at all their kids, how they're exposing them, right? Their parents and how they're embarrassing their families and exposing themselves, right? Karma. So I'm not going to get too much into that because I feel like there needs to be a breakdown of particle physics and the RBG protocol for colors, and then going a little bit deeper into electrons, paramagnetism, diamagnetism, and pseudogenes. That we're not going to do today. I'm just going to give you a prepper on these test families. That's what we're doing, and that's what they're currently dealing with. So now you see why they're acting out, because there's an emergency alert that's gone through their incest network, right? Consciously and subconsciously, that their end is near because of what they've been doing. So on top of that, they work in all the different companies. Mark Zuckerberg, all of them, they've molested their kids. A lot of these Asian women, when they marry these men, they don't know that that's what they do in their family. Another thing is that some of these men, they're marrying these women. They don't know that that's what they do in their family, that they have sex with their brother, their cousins, their father. And they do that. Like, oh, I'm going to my dad's house this weekend. Okay. And then they come back and they have sex with them, and then they're merging, right, in the etheric layer. And then that's translating to their physical layer, right? Think of the OSI protocol for the internet. You have your physical layer, you have your data link layer, you have your application layer, right? So if you were to look at that, when you're mating in your family and doing that, you're injecting packets of destruction at every level, and you don't have a system that can work properly. So again, they are at all these different tech companies, things like that, so they get access to all of your phone records, et cetera, et cetera. So not a single one of them is safe at the companies. And then another problem is the whites that got involved with them, harassing black and brown communities, starting hella shit, thinking they were all powerful, not knowing that these whites were practicing incest in their family and they had a other agenda, and that they have gotten magic involved in playing with other people to side with them and align with them, right? So that's another thing that they're doing, that they're getting caught up with, which is why we have these new coding systems. So let's go ahead and move forward. White Incest Family Network. Another thing that they do is they work in HR, Department of Labor, different places. Like I said, they spread themselves out, and they have a interface. It's like an online chat group where they have access to the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, her address, her social security number, everybody in her family, all their phone numbers tapped, etc. That's what they do. They think it's like a joke and like a Facebook to stalk and black and brown professionals. So that's what these incest family networks are doing. Then they incentivize low-level people that just come off of nowhere. Like, oh, I was watching like kitty porn online, or brother sister pornos online, and then I just like saw this link, or I got invited. I don't know how they found me, because they're tapping everyone's IP and MAC address, right? And that's how they're building their network. They're incentivizing people like that to, oh, you get $500 in crypto if you sneak into their house. You get $1,000 in Cardano if you kidnap a child. That's what they've been doing and incentivizing, right? So now that's the White Incest Family Network, and they got caught playing like that. That's what they were doing. It's single-handedly them that created Tent City, hacking everyone's bank account, stealing money from everyone's check, and causing a bunch of drama. And then on the other end of that, there's what they recently did, playing with the Black and Brown Indigenous community, building cases, playing with the sound technology so they can build cases against people. Like, oh, it looks like they're coming up. Yeah, we started a bunch of wars in their country and played with their family, but it looks like they're coming up. Let's stop that, because we don't need them like getting money and being bigger than us, and after all that we did in their country, because they're disgusting like that. And this is where you guys get the war over this code that they're about to fully experience. Because remember, they thought that they were about to start Handmaid's Tale. So who was going to be the Martha? And who was going to be the wife? Yeah, because for some of you guys, black and brown folks watching this, that's their thing now. Like, okay, well, yeah, that's not going to work for her. Right. So that's why they haven't fully instituted their plan. And now Donald is back. Like, I don't want to fucking do this job, because they know that their plan has been thwarted, because they're here watching my channel and they're clearly seeing how this is impacting like what they're doing. Right. So incest family networks, that's what they do. The biggest thing that they're trying to do right now is hide the fact that they destabilized the pharmaceutical industry twice. How? The first time stealing from people, and then something from space gets started. It's a whole episode in itself, but different psychedelics are attached to psychedelic channels. Those psychedelic channels are like basically like mansions in space. Like literally, some of them are mansions or planets or bodies, and you go into a certain place in space and you can put requests to edit that psychedelic, or to reduce its effect, increase its effect, approve it to work with another psychedelic. Like there's certain this is like something that a lot of people are going to find about. There's certain mushrooms that you can make psychedelic. It's how you grow them and activate them. It's a coding system, right? And this is one of the things that I did, where I grew a psychedelic coffee in my house. I put different seeds together and put magic on them. And then I unraveled the bud, and the seeds had dissolved into one. Right. So how did we do something like that? Another thing is that I actually grew the 6-petal morning glory flower, right? Not the 5-petal. It's the 6-petal, right? And she grows a little fruit, and it's a psychedelic. I grew that in my house as well, house, space, and those psychedelic channels. So when these white incest family networks were uploading a bunch of black and brown people to spy on them, stalk them, harass them, and steal, that shit was getting poisoned from space. Now here we see opioid epidemic, a bunch of white boys from upper class neighborhoods passing away because their families were involved in that type of chaos. The second round that they've been destabilizing for the past 10 years is getting extra drugs so they can drug their kids. Um, hey, it's time. It's time. You're older. You've had your period. It's time for you to experience extra love. What is that? Well, your dad will explain it to you. Okay, mom, am I getting a puppy or something? Oh, yeah, the cramps. How was it? Oh, yeah, I had cramps. It was really weird. Oh, no, they didn't teach us this in school. Oh, yeah, my friend Hannah, she just had pads on her. She's had her period too. Oh, yeah, all the girls, like, they have like little boxes and stuff they keep in their backpack. They help me. Okay, well, now I'm going to introduce you to something else, right? And then putting their kids on drugs. And those same kids now, right, for a lot of you guys dealing with this, cyborgia, these incest family networks, that's what they call themselves, cyborgia irklankla, right? So now, some of you guys dealing with them, you see what's going on with them. Like, oh, you have sex in your family, then you're on drugs. So they have drained the entire pharmaceutical industry of drugs. And then the low income health consumers, what are they getting? Fentanyl, powder. They're getting bones and the amalgam for their filling, right? They're getting all kinds of toxic ass chemicals in their painkillers or their medication or their seizure medication, which is going to come up major seizure medication, right? And now you see that's the other thing that they've been trying to do. Oh, they're looking for an herb to try to like control their children or force their children into like this incest family network because their kids go to school with children of color and normal children and they're starting to see. So then also to their grown children who are so abnormal and delusional that they need medication to calm themselves down, right? So that's another thing that they've been doing. And this is like why we're getting chaos in Palestine and African communities because they're looking for this special magical herb that's going to stop them from being sick. And then, I mean, you can't fuck, right? You can't suck and fuck and party like a rock star, right? If you're like sick all the time because your biochemical pathways are shattered, your ATP synthesis is shattered, you've merged in your family and you've created prions, right? Misfolded proteins, and you don't know how to function. So, for some of you guys, I have a book about this and that I wrote here. I'm just gonna bring this up. Yeah, I'm just okay. So I have this book, right? And this is what started like a lot of the chaos early on because they got exposed in their family. So all this, let's travel to Africa, molesting kids for spiritual powers. The women do it too, having sex with little boys and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what they're doing. But something's gonna come out about contract tracing and like three super pathogens for STDs. That's gonna stop a lot of shit. So just pull this up. Right. So now another thing here too is their task is also to go out and have sex with people that are not in their network and to spread this type of like yeah, it's sealed. Yeah. This type of biochemical that will make them ill. So a lot of women are running around, their mind is blown. They don't know what they're doing. They're like acting out because they had sex with somebody that has sex in their family. So there's a lot of information in this book, The White Legacy of Incest Families. And then I'm going to go ahead and this book I'm not gonna bring forth until we get together as a community so I can really like pipe down how to identify them, and then they need to be regulated, right? So in several states, if you have HIV and you sleep with somebody without a condom, you can go to jail because you have a disease that you knowingly are like getting passing on to somebody. Same thing with cyborgia, right? Especially with the debilitation of the public health system, as long as they decide to keep this up. So now what we're going to be doing, remember, we're going to be putting out a 10 source based system where we'll be able to fund our own systems. There's offices, there's all kinds of stuff. The public is debilitated. So we can run our own systems and they can go do what they want to do with the system that they created and broke. So now it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. Sometimes we need separation. We need segregation. So, and their delusional efforts to try to hide, the fact that they're disgusting and that they hate themselves and they're super envious of black and brown people. Another thing that they're getting into is attempting to have mixed children, or forcing black and brown women to become surrogates, or forcing black men to impregnate them, which is where you get the mad dash for fine ass niggas going to jail and getting uploaded to virtual reality so that they don't like dip up in black and brown women. Tyrese, there's this basketball player, his name is Tyrese, with his white girlfriend. You're done for here. So you guys are mating these women and playing games and bringing children forth, and then on the weekend, right? Got me ready for the weekend with you. Yeah, they're taking your kids to sex parties. They're taking your kids to rape cabins. We just have to let you know that you're very special. You're gonna have a different life because you have a little bit of color, but this is who you are. Mom, why are all these men touching me like that? Why are you letting this happen to me? What are you doing? I know what that is. That's sex. Why would you let that happen to me? Don't ever tell your dad about this. Okay, mom. Oh, you saved my dad? I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know I was like special like that. No, I haven't read this special book. It's like this book that they pass around. It's like a rewritten Harry Potter or whatever to like get them into the magical world of incest. So now that's what they're doing now because they think like, oh, I'm gonna get spiritual powers if my kids are mixed. And this whole thing of playing with black and brown people for aquatic magic and space systems. So now one of the other things that they're also doing is trying to hide the fact that a lot of their kids are inbred. And yeah, we're married, but it was for my brother. Okay, that's I can understand. I think you should keep the baby. That's like the ultimate love. Yeah, these are very few in our ranks. Clapping and stuff like that in the emergency room and stuff like that. Clapping and stuff like that in the delivery room. Having celebrations of fuckery and chaos. So now one of the other things that's going to come out is the fact that these families are getting identified because of the certain tests that they're asking to be ran, which is coming up in several investigations. Your insurance is getting reviewed. Then on top of that, their network of doctors and stuff like that, and chaos, they're getting exposed. Then another thing that they were doing too was kidnapping a bunch of people and then initiating a bunch of civil conflict in certain places, so they have a pool of people to pick from for illegal clinical trial testing. Right. So now we have, certain calls to action in every state about people's kids going missing, um, large amounts of energy going to warehouses, chemicals being moved and sent to different places. What is this place I'm delivering to? Storage unit companies all overnight. You guys all have to move out because we have a big customer and they took over the whole complex so they can store different black and brown people in different rooms. Right. So that's them doing that, right? So then another thing that they were doing is because they don't have creativity, talent, and stuff like that, they hacked all the black and brown developers and creators and influencers and things like that to try to get access to their work, get access to their ideas, their creativity, their talent. And this is where you guys get, like, on my channel, you've seen some of the influencers talk about this virtual reality. That's what they were doing, and that's what Drake went to go and do. Where he was basically playing with a bunch of people. Yeah, he was basically playing with a bunch of like whites in music that wanted to destabilize the music industry, and they had this plan. Oh, get next to this rapper, call him in, do this and do that. You have to find out their network, because this can go far if we take their music, their beats, and then they try to, bring us into legal action, stuff like that. Drake was a part of that group. There's a man named Rob Stone. He was a part of a network called The Fader. The Fader, he passed away because he was a part of music executives reselling people's beats and reselling people's music. So that's like the big thing that they just recently got into, and then stealing everyone's code because they don't know what they're doing. And then again, remember, you're practicing incest, and then it's malforming your prefrontal cortex that was already maladaptive because you engage in white thinking, right? So this is why we find that there's like different articles that they put out, say, Silicon Valley, uh-huh, uh-huh. Silicon Valley has an empathy problem. Yeah, and why? Because they all practice incest and they're delusional. So for another one, the big one too, on top of like getting basically loading up incest chemicals, right? Is like the sinisterness that they do with it. Like, oh, we've been working to try to have a baby, so you're having sex with your brother and your dad, and then you're like embedding that into me because they think that the child is going to be like a vessel for your father to reincarnate, like magic and shit like that, that they are believing in, like nonsense that they're believing in. One of the biggest ones is what the men are doing right now, right? So calling their sons like, oh, you seem to be happy over there. You haven't called your sister for extra love, and you haven't called your mother for first and special. What do you mean? Well, I have to show you original love. Okay, dad. And that's where their fathers have sex with them because they're not fucking their moms or their sisters, right? And then the mom and the sister are coming to the father, and then he's having sex with small children in different places and being disrupted. That's their manifesto. Most special love is when you're like 4 or 5 years old and your grandfather's molesting you. Special love is when you're having sex in your family. Extra love is when you're already in a relationship and you're fucking on in your family. More love is when you're fucking on your dad and then you start fucking on your brother or your sister or even your mom. So now, right, we see, okay, so they have a manifesto, right? And now you see why I had to do that before we got started. So, one of the things that's coming out here is that their manifesto has been found. They found it. And with the men too, oh, I'm married to this woman. She's not in our group. I saw my sister, but there's another guy in our group, and we're brothers. So, we're supposed to show each other ultimate brotherly love. And they have sex with each other. So, you guys know that there's been a bunch of white folks that are getting caught up and exposed on my channel. That's what they've been doing. A lot of members of the Jewish Legislative Caucus, they're not necessarily Jewish. Um, they don't know that there's like certain information people have about their family. So, one of the things that's happening here is that they got caught up with their little brotherhood, the politicians. And this is how you get access to different technology. That's okay. You're going to ease your way into it. Oh, don't worry about it. It's almost done. Okay, well, now you're in, right? And that's what they're doing to get technologies to play on your phone, play in your hood, and initiate warfare in Palestine. So, certain people now that are coming into the United Nations, oh, they have a new person here. Oh, they have a new person at this organization. Oh, there's a new person at this department. Maybe let's see. their job is to continue playing with people's kids, playing with you, and to get points so that, okay, then I get to get this tool and technology, or I get this special herb that will help me with this illness that my dad gave me. Okay, well, my child has a disease because they're inbred, so I get to get access to these specific doctors, right? So that's their incentive in their program. For a lot of you guys that were impacted, especially for the queer community, um, I just wanted to tell you that there's something going on with that too. A lot of women are finding out, like, oh, you have sex with your brother. No, because there was a day that we were like, playing around, and I was like, how did you get that loose? Right. And that's what's coming out too. That they say, oh, I'm a lesbian and this and that. Yay. But their father or their brother is their first love. So they're still riding dick. Right. So this is something that's going to be coming out in the queer community big, 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 big time. And they want to go weasel their way around a bunch of black and brown women. The gay white ones for the men. Whew. Yeah, that didn't last in Atlanta at all. They tiptoed out. They went straight back inside the house. What you doing here? Oh, you guys are playing with magic? You're doing rituals on me? You have a chemical in your body because you're doing certain things. I don't want to know you. Yeah. So, look. Right? I just say that to say that, right. So I say that to say it's not really as complex and, oh, secret societies as they want it to be. They make all that shit up. Zeitgeist and apparatus diaboli, which I know about, right? And all these conspiracy theories and King Edgar Plan and Behold the Pale Horse, all that I done ran through, baby. I done been through every hallway, every book. It really is spell work. Space. So, right, they do that to make it seem like, oh, we're the one percenters and we're sick as fuck, pussy leaking, playing with love spells, playing with umbilical cords. Like, okay, if I get this baby's umbilical cord at birth, then I can sneak into my boyfriend's house or this man that's a football player or entertainer through my network, getting access to key fob in our network, or getting access to your apartment because we know the property manager. And then there's a bunch of shit in your food and your cologne and whatever, which is the main reason why they're getting caught up. It's because of what they were doing, sneaking into a lot of your houses. And then they were putting their properties, right? Blood, whatever, tampon mixes or whatever into your food or whatnot. And the plants, the phytochemicals and the plants went to war with them. Why would you mix that into here? That's who's doing a lot of this because they said that's so disgusting and dishonorable. We already have composting on the planet. You guys are cooking me with pork and beef. You're not going to start this umbilical cord and just don't even start that. Yeah. And now you're talking about playing with human meat. That's another thing that they even started too. Human meat. Human meat. Okay, well, we aborted this fetus. It was between me and my brother. Okay, well, he will have extra love too. He'll just take some of this and then, he won't think about anything. He won't talk about this. She's exposing all of us. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, so what? I have sex with my brother. Why are you worried about that? Okay, yeah, I shouldn't be playing with you. I don't know why I'm actually doing that on meth, but okay, yeah. So, right. So now you guys have seen, like, oh, okay, so because they're doing that, I need to come with a different level of awareness. And that's where I come in, right? And certain Jedi mind tricks, like, just gonna act like I didn't even see that. So now, brotherhood. And then also, too, some of you guys finding this out and that it's rituals. And then you guys gonna go play with these men and getting magic done on you. Sex magic. It's magic with the MAJYC, magic. Not MAGIC. Not even MAJICK. So, right. Just you guys were playing with a bunch of spell work, and then, well, Daisy's surrounded by a bunch of white people that practice incest. Yeah, that's magic, right? So that's what everyone's talking about. So now, in these families, right, they're being Handmaid's Tale, play with women at work, that platform, playing in their network. The biggest thing right now is all the black and brown entertainers that found out that you have sex in your family. Do you have sex with your dad? Hey, where are you going when you're going like on the weekend with your brother? I thought that was cute that you guys were close, but what are you guys doing? Okay, okay, yeah, I don't want to be involved in that. Okay, well, I'm talking to my agent already. He's gonna draft an NDA. Okay, yeah, well, there's contracts and stuff like that for relationships. So we either get into one or I stop fucking with you. Okay, so you do have sex in your family. Okay, you weird bitch. Yeah, some of these basketball players, because they were under magic and it ruined their career. They can't run, they can't focus. Some of them brought these white women in, and it got a lot of the entertainers murdered, which is going to be the next video that I put up. They're looking for magic from Daisy. Oh, if we kidnap this child and we torture them, Daisy will know and she'll do the magic and he'll be in love again. Or Daisy will have to bring my husband back, or we'll torture her and fix her and do this until we get our men back. I don't know what they're talking about, but I don't have a problem with dates right now. He just, he's busy. He hasn't answered. How many people found out about that? The hell of people found out about that because they uploaded everyone to virtual reality to play. Again, this is why Kendrick Lamar is going bad on Drake. So now that's what got exposed, and we're sitting there listening to their manifesto. I'm like, oh, really? And I'm just sitting there writing all of it down. Wow. There's now let's get started in their rank because I'm gonna make sure that they get their time to shine. Yeah, I was thinking about reading Quran. I'm not gonna start it. Even a Bible verse. Yes, there's something in the Bible that I need to print out because I feel like no. Mm-mm. So all right. So right, just things that I rely on in times of chaos, right? So now, one of the things here that's also going on is let's talk about their denominations. So you have I'm a father, meaning well, my dad didn't have sex with me. I got my sister pregnant. I got my mom pregnant. That's dope. I got my daughter pregnant. That's really cool. I got my granddaughter pregnant. That's really dope, right? That's master father. That's real grandfather, right? Isn't that like funny? And they have no idea what they're saying. There's there's father brother. Like, okay, yeah, well, my dad hasn't had sex with me. I had sex with my mom, my sister. I haven't gotten them pregnant yet. Um, but I also have sex with like my brother and my cousin, my male cousins, and we like, play video games. Get out of my room, mom. We're just playing fucking video games. Who cares? It's extra love too. You're not old enough to make those decisions about bringing more love in. When you're 16, 17 years old, you have to ask me first. Yeah, that's how they talk with each other. Okay, dad, yeah, but I wanted to get new shoes and I just feel like because I'm getting like extra love or I'm getting early love that you're like kind of going against me here. Okay, but I want to like, look good like the other kids. And I feel like you're kind of like punishing me here because mom keeps on like, asking me for love. Okay, but that's not really my fault. So then they have I'm a brother. My dad has sex with me. I have sex with my sister. I've had sex with my mom, but like my dad has to be there. Now you see what they are doing in the office, right? Turn on Migos, Roadrunner, right? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, to be stupid and goofy at work so that they can work up the ranks. Like, oh, I'm not a sister anymore. I played in her food at work. I started hella shit with her family. They're Palestinian. We were able to rob one of their farms. Look, the IDF, they went down there instantly and they found a few bags of like different herbs and, these grape leaves and stuff like that. But they can't make, cocktail or this anymore. So now I'm a little mother. I'm a sister, or I'm a sister mother, not a mother sister. Okay, if you can harass Daisy and start this at work or do this, you know what rank you're gonna get. You're finally gonna become a mother. Okay, start a bunch of shit, a bunch of documents, a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of lies. I'm gonna tell you what you can get. You can for sure get a title. you can for sure any day get a title. So I'm just going to read a few lines from the Bible. Let's just see where they take us today. I feel like that's what I should do. Yeah, there's a certain book they want me to read from. Mm, 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 mm. Book of Nehemiah, page 257. It's so funny because the book of Nehemiah is right before the book of Esther. Um, no, yeah. Okay, so book of Nehemiah, chapter 4. When Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, like rebuilding walls, like vaginal rhinoplasty, things like that, he became furious. He mocked the Jews before his colleagues and the powerful men of Samaria and said, "What are these pathetic Jews doing? Can they restore it by themselves? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they ever finish it? Can they bring these burnt stones back to life from the mounds of rubble?" Then Tobiah, the Ammonite, who was beside him, said, "Indeed, even if a fox climbed up what they are building, he would break down their stone wall." And I was just talking about with the lesbian community, and you're hearing about walls, right? And then these basketball players finding out about a bunch of shit, like something like a hot dog down the hallway. What are you doing? No, come do some squats and kegels. Come here. Let me show you how to do this. Why are you wasting your time? Make their insults return on their own heads, and let them be taken as plunder to a land of captivity. Do not cover their guilt or let their sins be erased from your sight because they have angered the builders. So we rebuilt the wall, like Donald Trump in building walls. Yeah. And our enemy said, they won't realize it until we're among them and can kill them and stop the work. And our enemy said, chapter 4, uh, verse 11, 4:11. And our enemy said, they won't realize it until we're among them and can kill them and stop the work. So some of you guys are just not finding out, like, okay, that's what they've been doing. And that's why I like reading the Bible. It's like helps me solidify my consciousness and like things that I'm seeing and like that I know, right? I can be sure. When our enemies heard that we knew their scheme and that God had frustrated it, every one of us returned to his own work on the wall. God frustrated their scheme. Didn't I tell you that that's done? Didn't I tell you that that's over? That's done. The last time was the last time you're having sex in your family and you're starting all that bullshit. You're done here. Let me help you. Hi, Mary. It's nice to meet you. Keep working. Then I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, after talks of elected officials. So that's what, are you paying attention to what just got started in this Bible? The work is enormous and spread out, and we are separated far from one another along the wall. That's another thing that they're trying to do, change their last name to associate themselves and all kinds of stuff because of what they got started playing at the office in Department of Labor and Department of Justice. So you guys are basically like incentivizing the harassment of Black and brown professionals to the point of like recalls, getting removed from office, getting incarcerated for their job. Well, yeah. Well, I thought if I moved up the rank, then like I'll be able to, call in these different things for myself. I can get in vitro treatments. Okay. Okay, yeah, and I can get rhinoplasty. Like they don't want to have sex with us because we're loose. So, and I, my brothers, my servants, and the men of the guard with me never took off our clothes. Each carried his weapon, even when washing. Like I said, some of them never, their dad never had sex with them. Never. Yeah, they think that they're sick. He thinks that he's lit. He thinks that he's sick to play with you. So now, Sometimes I get on here and I'm like just doing anything, and somebody's like, it was an African man. He was just like, okay, I understand. There was a widespread outcry from the people and their wives against their Jewish countrymen. Some were saying, we, our sons, and our daughters are numerous. Let us get grain so that we can eat and live. Didn't I tell you about them playing on people's farms and starting shit? You guys are watching this right here. Again, Roadrunner. I just heard it. Dun, 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 to turn that shit the fuck off and stop playing games. So another thing for some of you guys that like I didn't even know that he was doing that. I see a very beautiful woman, like a few like my young Indian sisters. I'll be big sis, right? Some of you guys have come to my channel. Don't worry, you guys can always rely on me. Contact She256. They know me. Okay, so if you guys want to like, that's how you want to bring that in, I'll contact them too. But I'll be big sis, and you guys are okay. It's okay. I want to be aquatic, but yeah, I dated this white guy. It's okay, right? A lot of it too is magic. It's okay. Don't worry about that. I have something for you. There's a few potions that I can make for you. You have to put a spell on the specific herbal combination. It's locked on the planet because it doesn't even like really need to exist, but they configured some things in space. They made a new database for these plants to be able to work and carry those functions to clear that from your body and your DNA. There's some of you guys that I'm going to put a magic right now to just deactivate certain peptides in transcriptional sequences so that they don't like become a part of the residue that keeps activating this shattered biochemical pathway, right? And there's a few other things that I had for you guys. So it's unfortunate, but it's gonna turn into a medication, right? So yeah, it's unfortunate. You got burned. You got catfish. No pun intended, but actually stop eating catfish. I have an experience with that just want to stop doing that. We and our children are just like our countrymen and their children, yet we are subjecting our sons and daughters to slavery. Some of our daughters are already enslaved, but we are powerless because our fields and vineyards belong to others. Yeah, somebody just heard that. Yeah, okay, the whole manifesto, that's done for. So again, this is what we've been listening to in virtual reality. Oh yeah, that's actually fucking disgusting and fucking delusional. And they can actually be getting together, working and moving towards like progress and helping each other heal after all the wars we created and we're like causing more drama. Okay, and then we're complaining that we're sick right now and that Israel, their whole entire pharmaceutical industry is crashing because they put a spell on the plants, the phytochemical. It's been waning for a long time. That's why Israel's coming into Palestine, because the soil over there is cursed. So good. So now you guys have seen this widespread outcry from the people and their wives. What? I'm crazy because of you? You know, I was a hot blonde and I married you. And, you know, I just let you do what you wanted to do. I severed my career. I had things that I wanted to do. It's okay. I wanted to go into sports medicine. I could have done like, sports broadcasting or things like that. You know, I graduated from USC and I married you. I was your lover and your secretary, working every day of the week. Ooh. Was that the job when no one else was there, helping you get on your feet? 11 hosts, you're all related, and you can leave me at the drop of a dime. Hey, honey, my sister's going through something. I'm gonna go over there and like see what she needs. Oh, that's okay. Swallowed my tears or other magic that you've given me, stood by your side because you're using electrochemistry on me, you're using electrosonograph technology on me, and you've been having sex with my daughter, and that's why she's so disrespectful, and she's like 17, and I'm wearing a wig because all my hair fell out because you're having sex with you're having sex with so now we read Quran because it just went too far. So people need help, hope, and faith. But you gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. baby, I'm the wrong one to play with. You just don't know what I can start. So yeah, haram. This is haram. I can't listen to this because it's haram. Oh, so you can't hear about Aki? No, it's too haram. So let's see where we land in Quran today. Let me check at the database for divinations for Hafiz. They're saying that if I read this Quranic verse, it's going to start hella shit. I need to read it in Arabic. So let me go ahead and upgrade just like two substances in my body that are going to help a certain anatomy that I have to speak different languages. Okay, so we can get a little bit like, yeah, and this Quran.com, they got exposed because why is it only saying this, but she's going farther in the description? Women, you better be reading Quran and learning Arabic. What are you talking about? And she's not wearing hijab when she's doing that. What does that have to do with your family? And how did you get that purse and my brother got killed? Oh, I think you should focus on what she's saying. So, no, we're going to be in the surah. No. Uh-uh. No. No. Yeah. Okay. There's something in Al-An'am, the cattle. Okay, so we're going to go into this one, chapter 6. 6 is okay, verse like 5. Right. They have indeed rejected the truth when it came to them, so they will soon face the consequence of their ridicule. Have they not seen how many disbelieving peoples we destroyed before them? We had made them more established in the land than you. We sent down abundant rain for them and made rivers flow at their feet. Then we destroyed them for their sins and replaced them with other peoples. And this is for a lot of you guys that want to go play with these groups and what they're about to do to you. Because you thought that you were a little bit better. No, I don't have sex with my sister, but it's okay, dude. But where's the code? Whenever a sign comes to them from their Lord, they're turned away from it. Let's read Quran right now. So, yeah, thank you. I just want to say, inshallah, Allah, He will lead us through reading this verse and being proper and professional and respectful with Quran. And that this can help a lot of people just by hearing this and understanding that Quran is deeper than what a lot of people understand. So you see me read the Bible, you see me read Quran, right? Who am I? Al-Hagrif al-Irqa. I have come to a realization after I went into deep al-Habrani, aka a deep meditative state where I'm invoking 18 substance spaces so I can see into 18 different dimensions. And those 18 different dimensions, I come into 4 portals by going through those 18 portals. And I find 4 portals, which are the master substances to make me more likened unto God. Through constant prayer, fasting, penance, and prostrations, I've now invoked these substances. These substances help me see 28 things about you: the broken woman that you came from, the broken man that you came from, the broken females that you are a part of, the broken men that you will create, the broken women that you will create. Now, when they're saying the broken women that you are a part of, it's your aquatic being or flower, and the fact that she's a hoe or banished. The damaged businesses that you will create, the damaged mind systems for healing that you will create, the damaged leaders you will create and align yourself with. There's 28 of them. After viewing the 28 wickedness, the 28 levels of wickedness that Wallahi plays upon you for not being able to invoke just the simplest mind of God, you have to endure 18 hells. These 18 hells I invoke by being forced to go through these 18 portals to keep realizing what God was and was not. And you get all of that just by reading this right here. So now you see what they're about to be dealing with. Thank you. Jews we're going to be coming to later. So now we've gone through Hafiz for today. We have some solace and understanding about what's going on. They're filled with shaitan. Yeah, they have no deen. Jinn, they're dealing with the mother of the jinn's mother. She's really a ratchet whore, right? So I say that to say, I don't want to have this conversation again. I don't want to talk about this. You guys don't see me talking about this bullshit. I'll be back later to talk about mass death of entertainers, which is going to start another round of it, and white women running around playing games with these different entertainers, hacking their phone, playing in their investments, starting hella shit, causing hella drama, leaking Aisha Curry's business, and just starting too much about reproduction and maternity and playing with in vitro.